Someone like to read?
Read, Prabhu.
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by Divine Grace. Sorry, Prabhupada. Translation. O sons of King Prachina Parishad, the heavenly society girl named Locha kept the lotus-eyed daughter of Kandu in the care of forest trees. Then she went back to the heavenly planet. This daughter was born up by the coupling of Apsara named Pramlocha with the sage Kandu. Purport by His Divine Grace from Prabhupada. Whenever a great sage undergoes severe austerities for material power, the king of heaven, Indra, becomes very envious. All the demigods have responsible posts for the management of universal affairs and are very highly qualified with pious activities. Although they are ordinary living entities, they are able to attain responsible posts like Lord Brahma, Indra, Chandra, and Varuna. As is the nature of this material world, the king of heaven, Indra, is very anxious if a great sage undergoes severe austerities. The whole material world is filled with such envy that everyone becomes afraid of his neighbors. Every businessman is afraid of his associates because this material world is the field of activities for all kinds of envious people who have come here to compete with the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, Indra was very much afraid of the severe austerities performed by the great sage Kandu, and he sent from Locha to break his vows and austerities. A similar incident took place in the case of Vishwamitra. From other incidents in the Shastras, it appears that Indra has always been envious. When King Prithu was celebrating various sacrifices, outdoing Indra, Indra became very envious and he disturbed King Prithu's sacrifice. This has already been discussed in the previous chapters. King Indra became successful in breaking the vow of the great sage Kandu, who became attracted by the beauty of the heavenly society girl Ramlocha and begot a female child. The child is described herein as lotus-eyed and very beautiful. Being thus successful in her mission, Ramalocha returned to the heavenly planets, leaving the newborn child to the care of the trees. Fortunately, the trees accepted the child and agreed to raise her. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we see that this material society means constant envy. Everyone here is envious of someone else. Everyone wants to be the mini lord. So they have descended into this material world. But the result is that there is no one who is happy. How can anyone be happy? Because everyone is envious of others. We see even in the family, husband, wife fight with each other. Sometimes you see children are fighting with their father, father is fighting with mother, mother is fighting with daughter. Everyone is fighting because everyone is here for their own sense gratification. And when that sense gratification is disturbed, one becomes angry. And that there is no peace, there is always quarrel. So this tendency to be envious continues right till the time one has escaped the boundaries of this universe. So this envy is actually one is in this material world because of envy. When one becomes envious, then one enters into this world. So this envy actually starts very gradually. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's law, or actually Srila Jiva Goswami writes that the living entity actually descends from Golok to Vaikuntha and then gradually. It's not that today we are with Krishna and tomorrow we are fighting him. It's not like that. This envy for the Supreme Lord develops very slowly. And eventually one falls down into this material world. So this envy for the Supreme Lord continues, and the living entity descends further and further. Can you please mute yourself, Rita Mataji? Yeah, see, so this envy for the Supreme Lord continues at all stages. This material world means there is envy. So and the more one gets opulence, the more envious one becomes. That's why you see America, like everyone worships America, literally. Even the devotees love America. But America is such an envious country. Always, weapons, armies, military fighting with each other, just killing anyone who's weak. Or this is the nature of material life. Everyone is envious of everyone else. That's why every country has an army, every country is at war with somebody else all the time. Because everyone wants to enjoy the British Empire. People traveled 6 months, 1 whole year, 2 years across deadly oceans just to enjoy someone else's property. So many British died just trying to conquer India. And now Indians are doing the same thing. Old 80, 90-year-old men are trying to rule over others. Politicians are always fighting with each other. This is just envy. I am not satisfied with what I have, but I also want what you have. So this is the nature of envy. So we see that even the demigods are not free from it. Actually, we read this in Nectar of Instruction, or Nectar of Devotion, that a devotee faces obstacles even from demigods. When his devotion starts advancing, even the demigods also become envious because sometimes the demigods also feel that the devotees maybe is trying to take over their position. And so they become envious. So they try to put obstacles on the path of the devotee. For example, we see so many instances of Indra sending apsaras to destroy the sages' meditations. Here we see he's doing in case of Kandu. It's the same region, for the same reason. That that sage is performing so much sacrifice, so he may be wanting to come to me. He may want to come and take over my position. See, now this is a little more complex to understand. So why would Indra become so petty? But that's a fact. You see, for example, Krishna is explaining in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Yoga Bhrashta. One who is Yoga Bhrashta, he remains within material world. So he goes to heavenly planets to enjoy and then he comes back. Now, if someone is a devotee of Krishna or a great yogi, naturally his position is very exalted. Actually, a devotee's position, especially a devotee who's preaching the message of Krishna, he is very, very dear to the Lord. So if he has some material desires, Krishna will fulfill those. So what does that mean? That devotee may actually end up taking the position of Indra or Chandra or Surya or any prominent demigod. So therefore, the demigods are also scared. If the devotee is not pure, then he may take over their position. So they become envious. So they want to destroy his tapasya, his austerity. So in this way, they send these heavenly themselves to destroy and not just this way, there are so many difficulties they can create. We have read this in Bhagavatam also. That Krishna protects us from the disturbances created by Maya as well as the demigods. So all of this is possible in this material world. So the point is, if one wants to escape this material nature, one has to first practice giving up envy. Hare Krishna. Yes, any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, just regarding envy, I have done a practice on giving of envy in a couple of years, and I have seen many people have done that. It is like on its mind's nature. Sometimes it will come, and by practicing, like one of my friend who told me, he's not in Krishna consciousness, but he's in Alcoholic Anonymous. And I have gone through those stages, and I've read alcoholics are very much envy and resentment. And the process, he taught me that you have to pray for the other person whom we have envy, and we need to pray for that person. That my mind is sick because of I am getting this enviness. So, my dear Lord, please help me to correct my recover my mind from this sickness. And for the other person, we can pray for all prosperity, spirituality, happiness, and other thing. For the other person, we can go down on our knees and we can pray to the Lord, so that whenever we see the person in face to face, we can smile at him. And I have done that, implemented, because I used to have a lot of enviness. It is around 2008, 7. I used to get so much angry and envy and all these things. But I did this practical practice, and it helped me a lot to recover from such kind of this thing, Prabhuji. I just wanted to share this thing, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes. See, actually, we are envious of so many things, so many things. It's very difficult to even understand. Envy runs very subtle, very subtle. When we feel that someone, when we feel that, when we feel that someone is, obstructing our enjoyment, someone is becoming a hurdle in our freedom, all that is envy. That envy is actually directed towards Krishna, because Krishna is the ultimate sanctioning authority. Everything, without the will of the Lord, not even a leaf can move. Bhakti means, we meditate. Bhakti means we think. It's not that we read the book and then we say, we have read the book now, and we say, oh, wow, all, nice. Now I know. No, it's not like that. You have to read these books and analyze your own character. You have to read and understand what is wrong with me. How do I purify myself? How do I become better? Now, we continue text 14. Shutakshāmāya mukhe raja.
Shutakshāmāya mukhe raja.
Soma piyusha varshinim.
Soma
Piyusha varshinim.
Deshinim rodamanaya.
Deshinim rodamanaya.
Nidadhesa dayanvrita.
Nidadhesa dayanvrita.
May to?
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. Translation purport by Sri Prabhupada. The Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Thereafter the child who was left to the care of the trees began to cry with hunger. At that time the king of the forest, named the king of the moon parents, out of compassion, placed his finger, which poured forth nectar within the child's mouth. That the child was raised by the mercy of the king of the moon. Purport. Although the Apsaras left a child to the care of the trees could not take care of the child properly. Therefore, the tree handed the child over to the king of the moon. Thus Chandra, the king of the moon, put his finger within the mouth of the child to satisfy her hunger. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Krishna, thank you. So, the trees could not take care of the child, and she was, put to the care of the moon god. Now, one more important point is, that this material world is a very difficult place. That's why Adi Shankaracharya is saying, Iha sansare bahu dushtare, kripya pare pahi murare. This material world is a very difficult place. So we see, like great sages like Kandu, Vishwamitra, even they have fallen down. So what is our position? Actually, you see, that's why we are restricting. That's why we say that men and women should not mix so freely. Now, someone like great sage like Kandu or Vishwamitra, they were not ordinary sages. They were performing these austerities for thousands and thousands of years. You can imagine the level of purity they would have attained. And yet, when they saw one damsel, their vow was broken. Because that's the nature of material world. Now, someone may think, hey, I am such a gentleman. I deal with ladies all day. I don't feel lusty. Well, you don't feel lusty because you are so accustomed to it. You're used to it. Like once I remember, I went to this APMC market, spice market. We were just doing some book distribution, and I went there. And I couldn't stand the smell of chilies there. It was like a big shop selling, or you have those wholesalers. Tons and tons of chili were stored in that shop. And those men were selling those chilies. And the smell was unbearable. Like I felt that my lungs would burn out. But these men were sitting there comfortably, happily. 6 days a week, they're just sitting there. All day, morning till night, they're sitting there selling chilies. So they're just accustomed to it. So one should not think that one is immune to lust. One can never be. In fact, in the Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that none other than this 4 Kumaras and the Nar Narayan Rishi, actually only these 5 personalities, Nar Narayan Rishis and the 4 Kumaras, within this material world, only these 5 are immune to the charms of women. No one else is, not even Brahmaji, the father of the 4 Kumaras. Even he is not immune. When he created his daughter Vaka, he became lusty after her. So that is the position. Lord Shiva, when he saw Mohini Murti, he could not restrain himself. So one may think, oh, Mohini Murti is the Lord himself. That is all fine, but he's in a female form. So Lord Shiva was not specifically attracted to Lord Narayan or Vishnu who had appeared in front of him. He was attracted to his Mohini Murti form, the form of the female. So therefore, no one should think himself or herself immune to the charms of opposite sex. Whether subtle or gross, for no reason one should unnecessarily try to maintain contact, because that can always lead to fall down. Gross fall down comes at the very end. Subtle fall down takes place before that. Hare Krishna. Yes, Anandam Prabhu, you have a question?
Hare Krishna, Dhanutram Prabhu. In this context, I would like to share about what Bilumangal Thakur also shares for the welfare of all the devotees.
Yes, please.
Although he has taken a very austere life, and still at one point of time he reaches a Brahmana family, and then he is when he accepts a prasad from that house, then he develops a sort of appreciation for the Mataji, and then he finds that in his thought he's contemplating. So an exalted devotee like Bilumangal Thakur also is confiding to us like what can happen in the mind. People may externally tell that yes, they are not affected by the association of opposite sex, but even the thought is enough for deviating from the path of pure bhakti.
Yes.
And it is either way for each other. The thought itself is contaminating. It may not be a gross part, but it may be just an appreciation, and we may console our mind to say that yeah, we are just appreciating the Mataji. She's a nice lady. She's a chaste lady. She's doing like that also. But if we are thinking again and again, that means that is also an attachment.
Yeah. Dhyayato Vishyanapusha. Why should one think? Well, the lady may be very chaste, whatever, well, that's good for her. Why should we think about it? That's her choice, that's her position, let it be. Why should we think so much? Because when we think, then gradually this attachment develops. Then our attachment increases more and more. And then eventually, actually that's a subtle fall down already. So we have to avoid that. Otherwise our bhakti will be totally destroyed. We may think that we are actually advancing, but we are not. We're just like putting out a show, and we know within ourselves. Yeah. So we continue. Text 15.
That is the reason why the entire Vedic setup was such that it is optimum or minimal exposure to each other only for the requirements, whereas presently our entire situation is like that. We may be always having interactions. Even for devotional service also we may be interacting and doing, because we see nowadays that even when we are doing DT dressing in the temples, the group is, if it is the Grastas who are given the service at that particular time, so Mataji Prabhujis are coordinating together and serving the deities. So it is very difficult in the present situation. So therefore, when not in that situation, one has to practice devotional service very strictly, so that such type of thought or thing may not at all come. And even if it comes, then like what Yamunacharya says, so like that we need to immediately get away from the first thought. The thought may come, but we need not contemplate on the thought. So that type of practice we need to develop again and again.
Yeah, it's a very long journey. It's a long journey. And we should not think, oh, I am just chanting and reading, what can go wrong? A lot can go wrong. So while we are chanting and reading, we have to follow many practices to protect that. Not just that, I have my bead bag, I have my books, so what can happen? No. Regulative principles are not just gross principles, they are subtle principles also. Yeah. So text 15. Praja Visarga Adishta
या विसर्ग आदि
Pitra Mam Anuvartata Tatra Kanyam Vararoham
Tatra kanya vararoha
Tam Udvahat Machiram.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. May I read Prabhuji?
Yes, please.
Translation. Since all of you are very much obedient to my orders, I ask you to immediately marry that girl who was so well qualified with beauty and good qualities. According to the order of your father, create progeny through her. Purport. The Prachetas not only were great devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but were very obedient to the order of their father. Therefore, the Lord asked them to marry the daughter of Pramalocha. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes. See, the Lord is very merciful. It's not that Lord is some kind of a tyrant, you have to do this. He's not saying Prachetas, he's not saying, okay, now you have thought of such, material desires, so I won't consider you, or you just get lost. Nothing of that sort. It's not that the Prachetas are having some sense desires, so the Lord has abandoned them. No, the Lord has himself. Now we see this is actually the second instance that Lord has made an arrangement. So here it's the daughter of Pramalocha. Earlier it was the daughter of Manu, Devahuti. So Lord has made these arrangements so that his devotees can live peacefully. So Prachetas are not like Ravana, just going and picking up any girl they find. No, Prachetas are very sensible people. They have come here following the instructions of their father. They have obeyed the instruction of their spiritual master. So the Lord is pleased with them. So he has made arrangements in such a way that they can satisfy their senses and yet not deviate from religious principles. Meaning that they can satisfy their senses and still not give up the path of self-realization. As we see the story of Maharaj Janak, Maharaj Dashrath, Nanda Maharaj, Vasudev, Maharaj Vasudev. So all these personalities, they are grahasthas, they have children, and yet they are great personalities. They are intimately associated with the Supreme Lord. The Pandavas were grahasthas. So it's not that one has to be a brahmachari, but yes, in this material world, as much as because we are so degraded, we should practice brahmacharya to purify ourselves. Yes. Yeah. Text 16.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mehrotra Prabhu first.
Prabhuji. So we know that we are in a very contaminated material world.
Huh.
But even today, mostly is one wife and one husband.
Huh.
And I find this is again a case coming. And why is the idea of our spiritual masters and our ancestors to show that there are many husbands who are marrying the same woman. As it happened in the case of Draupadi also. Same is here. So Prachetas, there are number of them about 11 to 13 people. And they all marry one girl. What is the idea of conveying this message? Because today's world, we may say anything, but the present mind is certainly going to take it very seriously. They'll say, no, what is morality people have?
Actually, this question will be answered in the next purpose.
Okay.
So in this age, woman is forbidden to marry her husband's brother. So the previous ages, it would appear that a woman could marry brothers. Because in the previous ages, marriage was solely for the purpose of procreation. Not that the husband and wife would sit there and write songs to each other or, go to honeymoon and all. It was not like that. In previous ages, the connection between husband and wife was very limited.
Or was it that the number of females were less in those days?
Not necessarily. I mean, in case of Pandavas, there were so many females, and after the war, there were still so many more females. After the war, practically all the males were dead, which Arjun had also feared.
Okay.
So this was because they were chaste. So you see, now today, men and women are both so lusty, they're just associating with each other at all times with all excuses. But in previous ages, this was not the condition. So a woman was allowed to marry more than one man, procreate, get one child. Like in case of Pandavas also, the rule was very simple. That Draupadi would live with one husband for 1 year. And at that time, others could not approach her. That's why Arjun went for a pilgrimage. That's why Arjun was banished to the forest for 1 year. So we read this in the Mahabharata.
It comes there. I agree, Prabhu, but in present day situation, you see how long we keep on saying that those days were different, those ideas were different, those values were different. Because the person is going to think of today's context, with the today's mentality. So while we are saying we are so impure that even in the same house, daughter should not be there, mother should not be there.
Correct.
This environment we are trying to preach what was happening earlier with our ancestors. It will matter a lot of discussion on this point. Mainly the newsers may find it difficult to accept it.
Yeah, but because people are dull and lusty, stupid
I agree,
people.
definitely. But we are today dealing with such a lot only, no?
So
Now,
we should,
when
we
you
should
told me,
explain the whole. We should explain the background also. Prachetas were meditating under the water for so many years. Can anyone do that? Arjuna, the Pandavas, for how many? For 14, 15 years they spent with Dronacharya learning the art of weaponry. And then again, without a word, they left everything and they went to the forest. And when Krishna left this world, without saying anything, they took sannyas immediately. Can anyone do that? Everyone wants to imitate them. Hey, one woman married 5 men. Every girl will say, I'll also marry 5 men. Well, go ahead and do that. But Draupadi, her husbands left her immediately. Can she find such husbands? Or her husbands were great warriors. They fought a great war. Can anyone do that now? So, because see, we can't just look at one thing. We have to see the whole context. I may say, hey, what? Einstein married 3 times. I should also get married. But then Einstein gave the theory of relativity. Can I do that? See, I can imitate something, but I can't be like him. If I can be like him, maybe I can imitate him also. Someone may say, hey, Shah Rukh Khan is smoking cigarettes. Maybe I should also smoke. Yeah, please go ahead. But then you should also be worth like 1,000 crore rupees. So you're getting the point. Like, if one has to do everything. Simply by wearing a uniform, one does not become a soldier. One has to be trained for it. One cannot imitate only one thing.
I quite agree. Those who have read the scriptures and believe in that, they will understand these things. But the mundane people who do not want to understand it at all, they are going to create.
You can't anyway explain anything. Even if they understand this point, what is the use? They'll get stuck somewhere else.
Quite true. Hare Krishna.
Well, some things are impossible, Some things are impossible. We should not waste our time on them.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
My question on this contest is that there are many instances where Lord inspired a brahmachari to become grihastha. And where like Dhruva, although they had material desire, we can see Dhruva had a material desire to become a king. And but in case of Prachetas did not have a material like a desire to get a, after their meditation, after their tapasya, austerity in the water, they have never thought that they will get a daughter to marry even all 5 of them to one. So here it is mentioned that because their father had a desire.
Yeah.
Prachina Parishad had a desire that they, after he is sending their children to austerity, then once they come back, he will had a desire that they will rule this kingdom. So here we may say that maybe Lord wanted to increase the progeny, so that's why he said that you marry, and it is the beginning of creation, and it was started from Brahma's day. Even Prabhuji, there are many other instances where great rishis, munis, they have married and they are grihasthas and they have executed their devotional service very nicely. So some people who take this kind of example and say that in ISKCON, why they're approaching single child son and making them brahmachari in ISKCON. Or some even devotional people who are practicing spirituality, they are not able to understand why one should not one should become a brahmachari. He can do it the same thing in grihastha like Prabhupada did. Prabhupada was not a brahmachari. In grihastha he executed this thing in all over the world. Then why one should become a brahmachari? People put these things sometimes in front, like so many, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, all many things, give example. So Prabhuji, how we can make them understand, Prabhuji?
You're talking about non-devotees or devotees? Haribol, Santosh Prabhu?
Prabhuji, devotees, Prabhuji.
Devotees. Okay. Okay, that's very nice. Very interesting point you
But
raised.
they're not into our ISKCON this thing.
Uh-huh. See,
They're into.
Let's talk about devotees themselves first. Non-devotees, what is the use? You explain this thing, then they'll go on to something else. Then again something else. So, and they'll find an excuse to anyway wriggle out. But let's talk about devotees who talk like this, because that is very dangerous. So when I was a young boy many years ago, when I joined the movement, I heard many grihasthas glorifying grihasthashram. Oh, grihasthashram is so glorious. Prabhupada himself was a grihastha. But now 20-25 years have gone, and I don't see any grihastha doing anything worthwhile. They're still very much there, buying cars, buying houses, sending their children to America, sending children to England, making them doctors, IIT engineers, whatever. And still the same. They have not even read Bhagavad Gita last 25 years. If they would have studied at least one verse, they could have finished one chapter at least in 25 years. But they still haven't read anything. Oh, this is too much. Who puts so much effort? So such a grihastha is not a grihastha, it's a grahamedhi. Durachari, Stri Sangi. Not a grihastha. Grihastha means, like Prabhupada. Prabhupada wrote the manuscript of Bhagavad Gita 2 times when he was a grihastha. As a grihastha, he started this the whole planning for the whole preaching mission. As a grihastha, he supported the Gaudiya Math. He did so many things. What is the use of being a grihastha if you don't even know the basic scriptures? If you want to glorify Prabhupada, follow his example and become a sannyasi. Prabhupada left home at the age of 50. How many of our grihasthas are doing that? Or one may take the example of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, but then again, write books, study the scriptures, and send your sons to become brahmacharis or sannyasis. Bhakti Vinod Thakur's son was Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Lalit Prasad Thakur. But what about now? Where are we seeing such acharyas? Devotees are the most unhappy if their sons have to go to ashram. I haven't seen any ashram devotee whose parents are devotees. Unless they have who was born in a devotee family and then became brahmachari. Hardly any, very rare. So you see, Prabhu, there's no point in comparing one thing and neglecting the others. If you want to compare, compare everything, otherwise just forget it. And those who do want to compare, you should understand that they are just using that as an excuse, not really interested in advancing their bhakti. So there are many nuances of this process, Prabhu. It's complicated, it's not so simple.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Yes, Anandam Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Nandapanath.
Anand.
Regarding the point highlighted by Prabhuji Mehrotra Prabhu, that about the women getting married to many husbands, we come across several instances. So one more perspective that we can understand is most of the women which has been described here in Bhagavatam, where such instance come that they are getting married to brothers. These women are not just ordinary women. You will find that these all women, like even we quoted Draupadi Mata and even the women in the present context, these are quite extraordinary, not just a simple or a normal lady. And they can, even though they have married to different husbands, at a moment time, they are chaste to one husband, and there is no question of their chastity at one point of time. So therefore, they could, even though having many husbands, they could maintain their chastity. So that is something which when we as men or having the conditioning of men can understand at all. So that is a different psychology altogether. So definitely, either of the way, a lot of purity was being maintained, even though externally such type of marriages may be there, like one man getting married to multiple women, or one woman getting married to multiple husbands. But a level of purity was maintained and a level of standard was maintained, as you highlighted. Like, what about the different activities these personalities did, both the men's side and the women's side? These were exemplary. So we cannot imitate either of the way. So no woman should try to imitate Draupadi or the girl mentioned over here, or no man should try to imitate, because we have very limited capacity, limited life, and limited energy. So better to play a safe game. And the context of choosing a ashram and everything, irrespective of so many arguments and debates on that, it is the complete decision of the individual what is best for his framework. So definitely brahmacharya ashram or brahmacharya would be the best ideal thing. But then after contemplating and taking guidance from bona fide devotees, senior devotees, or a guru, the guru will suggest him, a shiksha guru or a diksha guru will suggest him what is best according to his psychology. But given a chance, he himself reading the scriptures sincerely, following the process, he can understand what is the best for him. So it is like we choose a vehicle to drive. So it's not just about what is luxurious or what is not luxurious. It is about what is more comfortable for me to drive. So you have to take a decision. So both of them have their advantage, disadvantages. And in fact, no disadvantage for brahmacharya ashram at all, actually speaking. Absolutely no disadvantage. But of course, if a person cannot accept that rugged lifestyle of brahmacharya ashram, so then a concession is given. But then for that concession, he needs to take the responsibility also. A brahmacharya definitely does not have any direct responsibility other than serving his Guru Maharaj. Whereas a grahastha not only has to serve his spiritual master, but he has to take the sole responsibility of his wife and parents and children and so many things. So then if you are ready for that, then get some luxury and then take it like. So it's like which vehicle you can more easily maneuver. Hare Krishna. Prabhu. Yeah, that was just some views which came in my mind. I just tried to
Yes.
contribute.
If we are objective, we'll realize why. We may say, oh, Pandavas did this, Prabhupada did that. Well, that's all right. These are rationalizations for our own desires. We want to enjoy, therefore we are seeking justifications. Better to be honest and just do it. Hey, I want to get married 2 times. Well, go ahead and do it. You will suffer. You'll learn your lesson and you'll come back. So the point is, see, our acharyas, the Supreme Lord, the scriptures, they're not here to torture us. They are showing us the easiest path out of this material world, which is so dangerous and miserable. So why not just take it and get out? Yes, you have a question, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat. No, not exactly a question, but regarding this discussion, I had heard Keshavanand Prabhu's one lecture, which I really found he could read the choosing of the ashram. So many times, always previously I've heard that people are said, okay, if you feel you are too lusty, you want to satisfy your lust, then get married, be satisfied with one woman. And even if a brahmachari starts feeling that, then he should change to grahastha ashram. But he said a very nice thing. Okay? It is, if a brahmachari is feeling lusty and he gets married to this, to overcome or to fulfill this lust, you're just adding fuel to the fire. That lust is never going to be satisfied. It's only increasing. So it's not that if you feel lusty, everybody feels lusty, even the brahmacharis feel. But then that you have to learn to tolerate with the tapasya and with your sadhana, all that you are doing. So the person should not become a brahmachari if he is feeling insecure. That is the main thing. Insecure in the sense, I have no savings. What will happen tomorrow? What will happen to my health? What will happen to my parents? If these are his concerns, then he should definitely not be taking brahmacharya ashram. But lust, up till now, what we have been hearing is, you feel lusty, get married. This especially I'm talking about a brahmachari, he was saying. So he was also saying one needs to know one's own mental makeup and then decide that which ashram, very deeply studying one's own self, what are really the desires, and then choose the ashram. This is something I wanted to share. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. See, one has to overcome lust. If you want to get back to Godhead, you want to go back to Godhead, overcome lust. No one can go back to Godhead with lust. And the best way to overcome lust is to engage in devotional service. When you're sitting alone, when you have nothing to do, you'll think of women, you'll think of sex and so many things. Don't sit alone. Don't sit empty. You must have some mission, you must have some objective all the time. It's difficult because people are not used to it. Like especially in India, boys don't have any hobbies or anything. They just sit, they just watch movies and that's it. Therefore, they're constantly lusty. Actually, even on a mundane platform, if a boy has some physical activities to do, he'll not feel so lusty. Children should go out, they should play, and then they should study. They should have some objective in life, at least some mundane objective, and then gradually spiritual objective. Because people are just sitting at home and, oh, what can I do? This is like this. Then naturally, lust is there. Lust is not coming from somewhere. It's inherent. As soon as a boy or girl reaches puberty, this lust will manifest completely. As the body grows, all these lusty desires will manifest. That's why brahmachari ashram is started before the onset of puberty, so that the boy can, easily mitigate lust before it manifests. But because people are not doing that, people are suffering. Yeah. The next verse is very large actually, so maybe we can do it tomorrow. My throat is not so good for such a big explanation today. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.